Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to this video. So let's do a video on what to look for if you guys are buying a car with a CVT transmission, particularly and especially a used car with a CVT transmission. All right. I've done a ton of CVT transmission videos. You guys know my channel. If you guys watch my videos, I had a 2008 Nissan Altima. Did a ton of videos on my issues with the CVT transmission on that car. And that car is still rolling. Got well over 300,000 miles on it. It's still rolling. So here's the breakdown. And this is my personal experience on CVT transmissions, and this is my personal breakdown on what you look for as far as buying a used car with a CVT transmission. All right. First of all, obviously you're gonna want to test drive the car that you're buying. All right. First of all, when you test drive it, you are going to make notes of any kind of weird noises, a whine, any kind of noises at all coming from the transmission, or any kind of whine at all coming from your car that seems out of the ordinary. Now, how do you tell, whether that noise is like, if it's not obvious? How would you tell if the noise is not part of the car? If it's just not a natural part of the car or something else? Well, what you're going to have to do is, I guess, the best scenario is to test drive a couple of the same car or similar cars like that, see what kind of noises come up, whether it's unusual or not. Obviously, you guys don't know what a whine is, a CVT whine. You guys should watch some videos on it, YouTube CVT whine, etc., etc. Just get accommodated with what the CVT whine sounds like. All right. And a lot of times that whine is pretty obvious, and a lot of times it's more obvious when the car is loaded to the max and it's pulling more, it's using more torque to pull. It creates a lot of stress on the transmission. You hear the whine. Or if it's going above a certain miles per hour, you will hear the whine. It becomes more obvious. Or if you're just driving normally, sometimes down a hill, up an incline, down a decline, you will, if there's a issue with the transmission, you will hear it. You will hear it. All right, that's the first thing. All right, second thing, as far as the CVT, spotting issues with a CVT transmission is concerned, you will want to check out the CVT transmission fluid, what color it is. Now, I personally, I have, discussed this as far as what the CVT transmission color should be. It's either green or it's red, but it shouldn't be dirty. All right, kind of like a reddish brownish color of a green color, depending on what CVT transmission you use. All right, now if you pull that stick out and it looks dirty and it looks black and it looks like it's burnt, it looks like there's some kind of particles in there, obviously that's an obvious sign of a CVT transmission deterioration. That's why the color is what it is. Okay, it shouldn't be that color. But for the most part, a lot of times, if you're looking for a used car, a lot of these people that are selling used cars with issues, what's gonna be a problem is, sometimes they'll change up the fluid. and you can't tell. I mean, it might be a bit dirty, you can't tell, you know. All right, always you want to, but if they didn't, and you pull out that dipstick, you guys can watch my video on where the dipstick is and how to put it out. You're gonna want to do that, because you know it's a telltale sign, you know, depending on what the color it is, whether your transmission is good or bad. It's not 100%. It's not going to be 100%, you know, accurate. You know, if you change the transmission fluid, you know, a lot of times it'll take a while before that fluid shows any kind of deterioration of the transmission and changes color and stuff like that. They changed it yesterday. You're not going to be able to tell the difference a lot of times. All right, but if it happens where you pull out, if it happens where they did not bother to change the transmission fluid and you pull it out and it's like a burnt color, a dark black burnt color, that's a telltale sign that it's, you know, the CVT transmission, it's probably deteriorating. All right, so that's the second. That is your second way of trying to analyze the state of a CVT transmission in a used car. The third way to tell if the transmission is good or not is you're gonna take it for a test drive. All right, it's not gonna be a short test drive. What you're gonna do is, all right, you're gonna test drive the car going above 60. All right, for a good period of time, maybe like 20 minutes, you know, drive about over 60. I mean, a lot of the test drives, you might drive around the block, you know, maybe there's no plates on the car and you can't test drive it. But if there are plates in the car, and if you're serious about buying the car, probably should tell the person who's selling it that you want to test drive the car, and you want to test drive the car above 60 miles per hour, preferably for about 15 to 20 minutes, to see if the CVT transmission overheats or not. All right. Now, if it overheats, normally what happens is it goes into safe mode. You're going to hear CVT whine. I mean, these CVT problems, issues, a lot of times don't really manifest itself until, you know, the transmission is put under some stress. Now, under some stress normally means if, you know, if it's pulling a lot of weight, if the car is pulling a lot of weight, there's a lot of passengers in the car, a lot of stuff, a lot more weight than normal in the car. If it's going up a hill, if it's going down a hill, if it's going above a certain miles per hour, normally it's 60. Now, if you guys watch my videos on when my transmission broke down, I was going above 60 miles per hour for a good period of time. Maybe like, well, not a good period of time, but 15, 20 minutes on the freeway. And, you know, if there was any issues of overheating, my car would go into either, it would either go into safe mode. And if you guys don't know what that is, you guys should, you know, catch my videos. It would either go into safe mode, or, you know, when my first CVT transmission absolutely broke on me, got destroyed. I was taking a about 2-hour drive to you know, it was the location I was going to was about over 100 miles away from me. So I believe it was over 100 miles, but the drive was like close to like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Maybe it was like close to 150 miles. But regardless, going above 60 miles per hour for like an extended period of time, like if you guys could push like 65, 70, I know, you know, speed limits and stuff like that, but if you guys could push it to that high and just drive it for about 20 to 30 minutes at that speed, preferably, and if there's no issues as far as it shutting out, the transmission shutting down on you to safe mode, or if it doesn't break down, period, then you know that you know nothing's 100%, but if it drives 30 minutes for at 60 miles per hour to 70 miles per hour, you know, during that period for 30 minutes, and, you know, no issues with shifting, none of that, it doesn't go into safe mode, then, you know, at least you will know that, you know, the car, the transmission is all right. You know, it's all right, I would say. Now, this is from my own personal experiences. I've done a ton of videos, so I'm going on this with experiences that I've had with my Nissan Altima, the you know, the CVT on my Altima. All right. So here is the fourth way to determine whether the transmission on your CVT, you know, the used car that you're buying, whether that transmission has a CVT issue or not. The fourth way is obviously you're going to test drive the car. All right. When you're test driving the car, figure out whether there's any kind of weird shifting pattern going on. You know, whether it's, you know, when you're having on drive, whether it's just revving up before it moves, whether there's any kind of jerking issues with the car, whether there's, you know, that sort of stuff. You know, what you would normally try to determine on any transmission is to figure out whether it's kind of slipping, whether it revs up a lot before it actually switches into gear, whether it, you know, after going, you know, 40 miles per hour or 60 miles per hour, whatever, you know, after a certain amount, you know, maybe like 5-10 minutes, you know, it doesn't accelerate above a certain speed, normally like 50, because safe mode, I believe it's about 55 miles per hour, maybe a bit lower. I'm not quite sure. But if you guys feel any kind of weird issues as far as, you know, the car revving up before it shifts, and then, you know, jerking issues, you know, hesitation as far as it hesitates quite a bit before it shifts to the next gear, you know, get in reverse if it has, you know, some kind of noise going in reverse or whatever, you know, that should give you a lot of indication of what state the transmission is in. Now, normally, you know, if they have records as far as, I guess this would be the fifth way to determine if they have records. If everything else looks good, if they have records on transmission fluid changes, if they change the transmission fluid every 30,000 to 40,000 miles, you know, they got records on that, you know, you could at least know that the person who's selling the car actually took care of their transmission, because you're supposed to change the transmission fluid, you know, on average every 40 to 60,000 miles. And then obviously, if they have those kind of records, and if they're that meticulous about having those kind of records as far as, you know, transmission fluid change intervals, etc., whatever service was done in the car, obviously you know that, you know, they took care of the car. But what else could I think of as far as how to tell, you know, CVT transmissions? If you guys have read up on them, if you guys know about them, they're kind of, you know, you know, even at this point, it's kind of like a mystery to a lot of people, even mechanics. All right. But if you know enough about it, you should be able to figure out whether the CVT transmission on the car, you know, it's not an exact science, but you should be able to figure out what state the transmission is in, with all those, you know, with all those different ways of testing it. Now, nothing's perfect, but you're taking a chance every time you buy a used car. So the more you check off the list as far as, you know, looking at meticulously certain things, particularly in this case with the transmission, you should you should have a higher chance of getting a car with a good CVT transmission, right? Like, you know, like anytime you buy a used car, there's always a chance, you know, there's always a chance that there's a problem with the car that you can't pick up while, you know, doing a test drive, while viewing it. I mean, there's always a chance of that happening. But those are, you know, I'm trying to think of other things, but those are everything that I could think of as far as trying to determine whether your CVT transmission, you know, the used car that you're buying, whether that car has any kind of CVT transmission issues or not. Now, if I missed out anything, you guys want to let me know, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section, which you guys always do. I do appreciate it. I really don't care if the comments are negative, positive, whatever. I'm a good sport about it. Not really a big deal to me. You guys just want to leave a comment regardless, leave a comment. And, you know, please do give me a thumbs up. And please subscribe. And if you guys have any ideas, let me know for my videos. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Let me know. I'll do videos on it. If you guys have stayed this long on this video, let me tell you guys what. I am up for showcasing your responses, your videos, your questions on my channel. Now, I've actually never done that before. I've considered it, but I've actually never done that before. If you guys have issues with your car or whatever, and you guys want me to showcase your video, let me know. I'll discuss it with you, and we could do that. But as far as this video is concerned, hope this has helped you guys out, and good luck with buying your car, guys. All right, take care.